Hello there, and welcome back to Sleepy Science Stories. Tonight, we drift beyond the borders of what we know, into the quiet idea that this universe, the one you see when you look up at the night sky, might not be the only one. Somewhere, perhaps far beyond what any telescope can see, another universe could be expanding, with its own stars, its own galaxies, its own version of you, breathing softly under a slightly different sky. As you rest, let your thoughts loosen. Imagine the space between worlds, like thin reflections layered upon one another. Tonight, we wander through 101 sleepy facts about the multiverse, a dream that even scientists are learning to take seriously. So breathe in slowly, and let's begin. The idea of parallel universes began not as fantasy, but as an echo from the strange heart of quantum physics. In the smallest scales of existence, particles do not behave like solid things. They blur, they shimmer, they exist in many states at once, until something observes them. When scientists tried to explain this mystery, they found themselves whispering questions that sounded like poetry. What if every possibility actually happens somewhere? What if reality never chooses just one path, but all of them? This thought, delicate and daring, became the seed of the multiverse. It is the idea that reality might not be singular, but layered, an infinite sea of outcomes unfolding in silence. And as you rest tonight, imagine this, the universe itself dreaming all its possibilities at once, and you are part of that dream. In the 1950s, a young physicist named Hugh Everett suggested something radical. Maybe the universe never collapses into one outcome. Instead, every quantum event, every time a particle chooses, reality splits. One branch for this result, another for that. Nothing is destroyed, only duplicated, forever branching like a cosmic tree. To most physicists of his time, it sounded like madness. Infinite worlds created every instant. But over the decades, the idea refused to fade. It offered an elegant way to preserve the laws of physics without magic, without observers changing reality by looking. In the many worlds view, everything that can happen does happen, just not all in this world. And in some quiet corner of infinity, there's a universe where Hugh Everett is still alive, still smiling at the thought that he was right. Imagine tossing a coin. In our everyday life, it lands on heads or tails. But in quantum physics, before it lands, both outcomes exist, superimposed, equally real. When you look, one becomes true. In the many worlds theory, both remain true, but each in its own universe. You, the observer, split as well. One version sees heads, another sees tails. It's not just the coin that divides reality. It's every action, every thought, every flicker of uncertainty. We live on one thin strand of a vast web of possibilities, unaware of the countless others weaving beside us. And somewhere, infinitely close yet unreachable, another you is watching the same coin fall the other way. When you make a choice, to speak or stay silent, to stay or leave, physics might say you've just forked reality itself. Each decision, no matter how small, could echo through the quantum field, giving rise to new versions of the universe. In one, you took the road you're on now. In another, you didn't, and that life unfolded quietly without you. The thought is both haunting and comforting. It means no possibility is ever truly lost. Each path finds a home somewhere in the grand architecture of existence. Perhaps, in dreaming, we sense those other lives, faint reflections brushing against the edges of our own. Every heartbeat, every breath, a silent divergence into eternity. Somewhere out there, if the multiverse exists, there may be another version of you. Breathing, thinking, wondering. They may look exactly the same or slightly different, shaped by one microscopic difference in chance. Perhaps they never moved from the city you left. Perhaps they chose another love, another dream, another way of being. In that other world, they might be gazing at a sky where the constellations are just slightly rearranged. And maybe, just maybe, they're wondering if someone out there is thinking of them too. Across the invisible boundary between universes, two identical thoughts ripple through the void, a resonance between mirrored souls. In one universe, you decided to look up, to pause, to wonder, to ask questions about the stars. That small curiosity changed everything. It led you here, to this moment, listening to the quiet story of cosmic reflection. In another universe, you didn't look up. You walked home, turned on the lights, and the night sky remained just a ceiling of darkness. Two versions of the same evening. One filled with wonder, one untouched by it. And yet both are real, both part of the grand mosaic of all possible nights. Every time you choose to look up, you align with one of those universes, the ones where curiosity breathes. In another world, you stayed asleep. You never wondered about the universe. You never asked why the stars burn, or what lies beyond them. That version of you lives a simpler life, untouched by cosmic questions. Maybe they're happier. Maybe ignorance, in that world, is a kind of peace. But here, in this universe, your curiosity is awake. You are the version that asks, that seeks, that dreams of infinite skies. And that, too, is a kind of peace, the peace of knowing that wonder is your nature. Physicists sometimes describe space as a foam, a restless sea, where tiny bubbles of space-time rise and vanish. Each bubble might expand into its own universe, separate and self-contained. We can't see them, but mathematically, the idea makes sense. Every bubble could carry its own beginning, its own laws, its own stretch of cosmic time. Ours is just one bubble among countless others, drifting in the quantum sea. And somewhere, another bubble is being born right now, its light still unborn, its galaxies still dreaming. In the silence between universes, creation never sleeps. In our universe, physics feels absolute, light moves at one speed, gravity has one strength. But in the multiverse, each universe could be written with a different script, a different set of physical constants. Some might have stronger gravity, crushing stars before they form. Others might have weaker nuclear forces, where atoms can't hold together. A few might shimmer in strange colors of light, invisible to us. And perhaps, only a rare few, like ours, allow life to arise and wonder at its own existence. To think that we live in one of the few universes where consciousness blooms is both humbling and miraculous. Not every universe survives. Some might collapse instantly, never growing large enough for atoms to exist. Others could expand so rapidly that matter never forms, a silent flash fading into emptiness. And a few, rare ones, like ours, balance perfectly, expanding slowly enough for stars to ignite. Every flicker of starlight is proof that our universe found the fragile middle ground between chaos and collapse. Maybe the multiverse is full of cosmic ghosts, worlds that tried but never made it. We live in one that did. And that makes every sunrise, every breath, a quiet triumph of chance over nothingness. Gravity is gentle here. It keeps our feet to the ground, shapes planets, pulls galaxies together. But imagine a universe where gravity is just a little stronger. Stars that would live fast and die young, collapsing before they could nurture life. If gravity were weaker, stars might never form at all, only drifting clouds of dark gas. This simple difference, a fraction in an equation, decides whether a world is silent or singing with life. When physicists model such variations, they find how fine-tuned our universe truly is. Too strong, and everything falls inward. Too weak, and nothing holds. We live in the narrow band between extremes, a balance so delicate that it almost feels like intention. A universe precisely, tuned to let us look back and ask why. In some possible universes, the forces that bind matter never reach stability. Atoms can't form, and without atoms, there are no stars, no planets, no breath, no light. Just an expanding fog of energy, stretching into endless dark. It's strange to think that physics itself decides whether something can even exist. In that kind of world, there are no questions, and no one to ask them. Ours, by comparison, is miraculous. The same equations that allow hydrogen to fuse inside stars also allow you to exist, made from that same hydrogen, cooled and arranged into thought. Perhaps, among infinite universes, most are empty, silent, unthinking. And we, the thinking dust, are the rare ones who can wonder why the void is not total. Not all universes are given the same chance to grow. Some may spark into existence only to collapse back upon themselves in less than a heartbeat. Physicists call this a false vacuum decay, a cosmic bubble that cannot hold. Its space implodes, its time vanishes, and nothing ever knows it was there. Even in creation, failure is common. For every universe like ours that stretches wide and long, there could be countless that flicker out instantly, unseen. But perhaps their brief existence still matters. Each one a note in a larger cosmic symphony, a single vibration in the infinite chord of reality. Even if no one hears them, they still sing, for an instant, before silence returns. Some universes may live for ages beyond measure, trillions upon trillions of years. Stars burn out, galaxies fade, black holes evaporate, yet space continues, vast and nearly empty. Temperature drops toward absolute zero, time stretches thin, but the expansion doesn't stop. It only slows, as if the universe itself were falling asleep. Perhaps that is the ultimate fate of most universes, not a violent end, but a long, peaceful fading. An infinite rest after infinite motion. And maybe that, too, is beautiful. A cosmos that dreams itself into stillness, like a candle extinguishing in the dark. If the speed of light were slightly different, the entire structure of reality would change. Light governs not just what we see, but how time itself behaves. In some hypothetical universes, light might move slower, and time would flow thicker, heavier, like honey. In others, it might be faster, and events would unfold in dazzling, incomprehensible speed. Even the colors of the sky would shift. A simple constant, written in the fabric of equations, decides whether a universe glows warm or cold. We take light for granted, yet it is one of the great laws that separates one reality from another. To imagine worlds where it dances differently is to realize how narrow and how precious our own window truly is. Some scientists believe black holes might be seeds of new universes. When a massive star collapses, it forms a singularity, a place where the known laws of physics break. But what if, inside that singularity, a new expansion begins? A baby universe, with its own time and its own space, budding off from ours like a cosmic branch. To us, the black hole is an end, matter falling, light fading. But to the other side, it might be a beginning. Every death in our universe could be a birth in another, a strange kind of cosmic recycling, where nothing is truly lost, only transformed. If so, then even destruction carries creation's echo, an eternal rhythm between collapse and dawn. When a star dies, it collapses under its own gravity until only its memory remains. But in the equations, that collapse doesn't end in nothing. It curves space-time so sharply that a new region could open beyond the event horizon. Physicists have long wondered if that beyond might be another universe, unreachable from ours. Perhaps, for every black hole in our sky, there exists another world within it, a place where the matter that fell becomes the building blocks of a new cosmos. In that view, our universe could be the child of another's dying star. Creation and destruction, not opposites, but partners, passing the torch of existence across infinities. Every night, when you look at the stars, you are seeing only one reflection among countless others. The light you see left its source long ago, perhaps from a star that no longer exists. Each photon carries not just light, but memory, a story of what was, not what is. Now imagine that same starlight reflected across endless parallel skies. In one universe, the constellation Orion burns brighter. In another, it never formed at all. To gaze upward is to stare into a hall of mirrors so vast that only silence can describe it. And in that silence, your smallness becomes something sacred, a quiet acknowledgement that you are part of the pattern, not apart from it. We can't yet travel between universes, but mathematics can. Within equations, physicists have glimpsed the shape of other realities, curved, folded, shimmering with possibility. When a formula works in more than one dimension, it hints at worlds we can't touch but can imagine. In this way, numbers become telescopes. Every elegant equation is a door, slightly ajar, showing what could exist beyond the veil of our own cosmos. Even if we never walk through, just knowing the door is there changes how we see our own world. Perhaps imagination is the first kind of travel between universes, a journey of thought instead of motion. Even when silence fills the universe, mathematics still speaks. It whispers through patterns, through symmetry, through the way galaxies spin and atoms hum. The numbers don't care which universe they live in, they simply are. And through them, scientists sense that reality itself might be infinite, branching, alive. We have no telescope powerful enough to prove it, no experiment fine enough to touch it, but the equations linger, elegant and consistent, hinting that our universe is only one voice in a cosmic chorus. And in that harmony of infinities, our song, brief though it is, still matters. Because even among endless worlds, wonder is never duplicated exactly the same way twice. The story begins in a fraction of a second after the Big Bang. At that moment, something extraordinary happened. a burst of expansion so fast that space itself stretched faster than light. This is known as cosmic inflation. It wasn't an explosion through space, but an explosion of space. The very fabric of reality swelling outward like a balloon. In less than the blink of an eye, the universe grew from smaller than an atom to larger than a galaxy. That sudden expansion smoothed everything, spreading energy evenly, like butter across infinite bread. It set the stage for stars, galaxies, and life itself to someday appear. But inflation might not have been a one-time event. If it can happen once, perhaps it can happen again, and again, forever. Each new burst could spawn a new universe, still blooming somewhere in the quiet dark. During that initial burst of inflation, some regions may have expanded differently from others. Tiny fluctuations in energy, so small they were quantum ripples, might have made one patch of space swell faster than its neighbors. Those ripples could have broken reality into islands. Each island kept inflating, separating completely from the rest. Each became its own universe, sealed off, forever unreachable. To us, these other universes are beyond even imagination's horizon. But in the language of physics, they are natural consequences, not fantasy, but mathematics carried to its conclusion. We may live in just one region where inflation slowed enough to create stars and time. Elsewhere, others kept expanding, still inflating endlessly, like bubbles in boiling water that never cool. As inflation slowed, the energy that drove expansion cooled and condensed into matter, into particles, light, and gravity itself. That cooling marked the birth of our universe. But if other regions cooled at different rates, each one froze into a different kind of reality. One might cool into a cosmos with stronger forces, another with weaker ones. Each became a self-contained bubble, separate, stable, and immense. From the outside, they might look like shimmering spheres of space-time floating in a greater void. Inside, entire histories unfold, galaxies forming, beings awakening, stars burning. And between those bubbles, pure nothing, a silent gap where no signal can cross. Each bubble a universe, each universe an island of reality adrift in an unseen ocean. Imagine an infinite ocean, black and endless. On its surface, bubbles rise and burst again, each bubble glowing with its own light, its own brief existence. That's one way to picture the multiverse. New universes forming all the time, expanding from tiny fluctuations in the quantum field. Each bubble grows for a while, then drifts away into darkness. From the perspective of eternity, it's a gentle, endless rhythm, the cosmos breathing in and out, creating itself again and again. And perhaps, even now, as you listen, another universe is being born somewhere beyond reach. Its first atoms forming, its first light flickering like a heartbeat in the dark. The universes born from inflation never touch. Once they form, the space between them grows faster than light, pushing them apart forever. No signal can cross that distance, no gravity can bridge it. Each universe expands in isolation, unaware of the others, like ships sailing away across an ocean with no shore. The space that separates them is not empty. It is the same inflationary field that birthed them. And that field still expands, still creates. So even as our own cosmos grows old, others continue to appear, like endless sparks from a single unseen fire. We will never meet them, but we share the same cosmic sea, quiet, cold, and eternal. If two universes ever formed close enough to touch, their edges might collide. When that happens, energy ripples through the boundaries like waves meeting in a pond. Those ripples could leave faint marks, scars, on the oldest light of our universe, the cosmic microwave background. Astronomers have searched for these scars, patterns that might reveal a cosmic neighbor brushing against us long ago. So far, nothing certain has been found, but some slight anomalies, circular imprints in the radiation, make scientists wonder. Perhaps, somewhere in our ancient past, our bubble once grazed another. If so, every sunrise could carry a hidden echo of that silent cosmic touch. For decades, satellites like WMAP and Planck have mapped the faint glow left from the Big Bang, light that has traveled for 13.8 billion years. Buried within that glow are subtle ripples, like fingerprints in ancient clay. Physicists sift through this map of the sky, pixel by pixel, searching for anything that breaks the pattern. A perfect circular mark could mean one thing: collision, a memory of our universe brushing against another long before stars were born. No clear evidence has emerged yet, but the very act of searching, of peering into noise to find the shape of something beyond, is itself beautiful. It is humanity listening for a whisper across the sea of universes, hoping to hear another world breathe. In 2010, a few astronomers reported seeing strange concentric circles in the cosmic background radiation, faint, repeating ripples. They proposed that these might be evidence of past cosmic collisions, even signs of cycles before our own Big Bang. The claims stirred debate, fascination, and doubt. Others examined the data and found that randomness could explain it too. But the idea lingered that maybe our universe carries subtle scars, traces of ancient contact. Even if those circles are illusions, they remind us of something profound. We are surrounded by mysteries too vast to dismiss, too delicate to prove. The cosmos may hold its secrets lightly, waiting for us to dream them true. If universes can collide, then perhaps the evidence is written in the geometry of our own, a gentle asymmetry in the distribution of galaxies, a tilt in the cosmic background temperature, a region of space slightly warmer or cooler than it should be. Physicists call one such anomaly the cold spot. Some speculate it might be the fingerprint of another universe brushing against ours, or it might be nothing more than statistical chance. Either way, the mystery keeps us looking up. Maybe, someday, we'll find a scar too perfect to ignore, proof that our universe once touched another, softly, like mirrors meeting in the dark. Even if we discovered another universe, we could never reach it. The space between bubbles expands faster than light itself. No spacecraft, no signal, no particle could ever cross that boundary. This isn't a wall, it's simply the rule of cosmic speed. Beyond a certain horizon, even light cannot keep up with expansion. To imagine reaching another universe is to imagine outrunning time itself. And yet, though we cannot travel there, we can still feel its presence, a subtle pull of curiosity, a quiet knowing that the infinite might lie just beyond sight. Perhaps wonder is the only bridge that crosses that impossible distance. Inside each universe, time unfolds at its own pace. Here, billions of years pass as galaxies spin and fade. But in another universe, where the constants of nature differ, time might move faster, or slower. Perhaps in some, the entire history of existence flashes by in a heartbeat. In others, even a single second might stretch longer than our age of stars. Each bubble of reality is its own clock, ticking to a rhythm only it can hear. To the multiverse, all these rhythms blend into a silent harmony, a choir of clocks that never sync, yet never fall out of tune. To one universe, a billion years might be a sigh. To another, that same moment could feel endless. From our point of view, eternity seems vast, but to something larger, our entire history may pass in an instant. The scales of time and being stretched beyond comprehension. Perhaps universes observe one another not through light, but through rhythm, pulsing expansions, overlapping like distant music. And when we measure time, we are merely keeping tempo with our own bubble, unaware that others are drumming to their own eternal beat. Some theories suggest that inflation never ended, that even now, new universes continue to appear, forming endlessly in the quantum field. Each one begins as a tiny fluctuation, smaller than an atom, then expands, cooling into its own laws and stars. Creation, in this view, is not a single event but an ongoing process. Reality is still blooming. Somewhere beyond the edge of observation, a new cosmos is lighting its first stars as we speak. And in its future skies, perhaps someone else will one day look up and wonder the same way you do now. In the scale of the multiverse, universes are born and die without drama. Creation and collapse are simply opposite breaths in the same cycle. A universe expands, cools, and fades. Another flares to life elsewhere. There is no tragedy in it, only balance, a vast, quiet equilibrium. Just as waves rise and fall on the sea, so too do realities appear and disappear, leaving no trace but symmetry. To the multiverse, nothing is wasted. Every spark of creation, every flicker of ending, contributes to the music of existence. You, listening now, are part of that rhythm, a brief note in an infinite song. Physicists call this picture eternal inflation, the idea that the process of universe making never truly stops. Once it begins, it keeps going forever, spawning new worlds endlessly. Each universe is like a pocket in an expanding fabric, inflating from the vacuum itself. There was never one Big Bang, but countless Big Bangs, each birthing a new cosmos. It's not just a theory. It's the most natural outcome of what we already know about energy and quantum fields. In eternal inflation, time has no beginning and no end, just creation, repeating forever. The multiverse, then, is not a story, it's a heartbeat. If eternal inflation is true, there was never a moment when nothing became something. There was always something, a field, a fluctuation, a sea of potential bubbling endlessly. Our universe, then, is not the first, nor the last. It's simply one moment in an infinite chain of becoming. To ask, what came before the Big Bang, is to ask, what came before the ocean? The question itself dissolves. Reality, in this view, never began and will never stop. It just is, calm, continuous, eternal. And within that endlessness, our brief lives are sparks of awareness, lighting up the infinite for a heartbeat. Even emptiness is unstable. In quantum theory, the vacuum is never truly void. It seethes with energy, particles appearing and vanishing in pairs, matter and antimatter flickering in and out of being. Given the right conditions, one of those fluctuations could expand, becoming an entire universe. A nothing that becomes everything. This is perhaps the strangest truth of all, that existence may not need a cause. It happens because it can, because the rules of reality allow it. And in that realization lies a quiet beauty, that even the void is creative. Somewhere in that. Quantum C, a tiny fluctuation once lasted just long enough to expand instead of collapsing. That spark became our universe, a microscopic tremor in the field that refused to fade. It didn't explode into space, it became space. Every galaxy, every star, every atom, all descended from that single quantum heartbeat. And if that's true, then existence itself began not with noise, but with the gentlest vibration imaginable, a whisper from the void saying, "Let there be space." The multiverse, if infinite, needs no edge, no outside, no beyond. It expands into itself, endlessly, like a sea with no shore. Every direction leads only to more of what is. There's no center to find, no border to cross. Our universe floats within it like a single droplet, self-contained, yet part of the whole. From within, it feels complete. From without, it's one of countless ripples across an infinite ocean of being. Infinity doesn't mean chaos, it means peace, the calm that comes from knowing there's no end to the pattern. And within that infinite sea, our universe drifts, glowing softly, expanding, filled with life that looks up and wonders. We are the awareness of this bubble, the eyes through which it sees itself. Our stars, our atoms, our thoughts are made of the same quantum field that spawned everything. We are, in a quiet sense, the universe noticing its own reflection. Somewhere beyond, other bubbles shimmer, untouched yet connected through the sea they share. Perhaps they too have dreamers wondering what lies beyond. And maybe, in the stillness between, all universes listen to one another, not through sound, but through silence. We live in three familiar dimensions: length, width, and height. Everything we see, touch, or imagine fits inside them. But physicists believe there could be more, unseen dimensions folded so tightly that even light can't reveal them. In string theory, the smallest particles are not points, but vibrating strings. And the way these strings vibrate depends on the shape of hidden dimensions. Those shapes could be curled up at scales far smaller than atoms, woven into the fabric of every proton in your body. We can't perceive them directly, but their presence may shape the way gravity bends or the way time flows. It means that the universe you know might only be the surface of something much larger, more intricate, and quietly alive beneath its folds. Imagine space as a sheet of paper. To us, it seems flat and endless. But if you zoom in close enough, you might see it curling, twisting, looping upon itself. Hidden folds invisible from above. This is how extra dimensions might exist, compactified, rolled up like tiny tunnels. A being small enough to move through them could find shortcuts across the universe, invisible paths folded into existence itself. But for us, these paths are closed, too small to enter, too subtle to feel. It's strange to think that right now, trillions of these microscopic dimensions might be surrounding you, intersecting your every atom, passing through your skin, silent highways for forces we cannot yet travel. Not all extra dimensions have to be small. Some might be vast, large enough to contain entire universes parallel to ours. They could lie just beyond the limits of perception, separated not by distance, but by geometry. In such models, our universe is like a membrane, a brain, floating in higher dimensional space. Other brains may exist beside us, each hosting its own reality. We can't see them because light, matter, and time are confined to our brain. Only gravity might wander between them, faint and ghostly. It's a haunting idea that other universes could be right next to us, brushing against our own, yet forever invisible, like parallel dreams sharing the same air. Think of the multiverse as a cosmic book. Each universe is a page, thin, vast, and filled with its own story. To us, pages seem separate, but together they form a single book of existence. You live on one page, unable to turn to the next, yet connected through the same spine, the higher dimension that binds them. Every page has its own light, its own time, its own version of reality. Perhaps in the great library of the cosmos, there are infinite volumes, each containing infinite pages. And between them, silence, paper thin but absolute. The thought that your entire universe could be one page among countless others is both humbling and strangely comforting. It means even isolation is part of a larger story. Gravity is the weakest of all known forces. A magnet can lift a paperclip against the pull of an entire planet. Physicists have long wondered why. One elegant possibility: gravity is not confined to our universe. It might leak into other dimensions, spreading its strength thin across many realities. If true, every time you drop a stone, a whisper of that motion ripples faintly through higher space. A subtle tug felt by worlds you'll never see. To us, gravity seems fragile. But maybe that's because we only feel a fraction of its full song, most of it echoing through other realms beyond our reach. If two universes exist side by side, they might sometimes drift close. When that happens, the pull of gravity could draw them together for a moment, a soft collision in higher space. From within, it would look like a burst of unimaginable energy, a storm of creation. Some physicists think that's exactly how our Big Bang began. Two vast brains, moving through higher dimensions, brushed against each other, releasing light, matter, and time. The result: our universe. If so, then every birth of a cosmos is also a meeting, a brief contact between realities, leaving behind a new world glowing with possibility. This idea that universes are brains colliding is called the ekpyrotic model. In this view, the Big Bang wasn't the beginning of everything, but a rebound, the aftermath of impact. When two brains collide, energy converts into matter, and time begins anew. Afterward, the universes drift apart again, cooling and expanding until the next approach. It's an elegant alternative to the single, isolated Big Bang. Instead of one explosion, there is an eternal rhythm of contact and creation. Each cycle may take trillions of years, but to the higher dimension that holds them, it's only a pulse, a heartbeat in the body of infinity. During a brain collision, the energy released would be beyond imagination, enough to fill a universe with light. From that light, matter condenses, forming the particles that build everything: hydrogen, helium, the seeds of stars. Every atom you know could be the cooled memory of that ancient contact. When you touch the air, you are touching the relics of a collision that happened before time began. Perhaps our universe was not born in isolation, but as a bridge, a moment of connection between two infinite surfaces. A universe born not from emptiness, but from encounter. It's a gentle idea that everything we see, from galaxies to your own breath, began with a touch. Two universes meeting, sharing energy for a fleeting instant, then parting. Not violence, but resonance. Not chaos, but creation through harmony. It suggests that existence might not arise from nothing, but from relationship. Every sunrise, every heartbeat, could be an echo of that first connection. And maybe, in the stillness of space, our universe still carries the faint vibration of that cosmic embrace. If this cycle repeats, then long after our stars fade and galaxies dissolve, two universes might drift close again. When they do, their meeting will light a new cosmos, another Big Bang, another story. This process could happen every few trillion years, an infinite heartbeat of creation. To the beings of that next universe, ours will be ancient history, invisible, yet foundational. Every age gives rise to another, every silence conceals another dawn. The multiverse, in this way, is not static, it breathes. It dreams through rhythm, contact, creation, rest, renewal. If universes collide in cycles, then creation is not a beginning, but a pulse, a quiet, steady beat beneath the chaos of stars. Perhaps we can't hear it, but everything around us moves to its rhythm. Galaxies expand, fade, and reform in a choreography set by dimensions beyond sight. You, too, are part of that motion. Atoms once born in a supernova, now woven into thought. In the grander scheme, every heartbeat, every breath mirrors the same pattern: expansion, rest, renewal. We are made in the rhythm of universes, dancing to a tempo written before time. Some physicists have called string theory the music of the cosmos. Every particle is like a note, every vibration a tone in the great symphony of existence. The hidden dimensions determine the melody, the shape of space tuning how strings vibrate. Change the geometry, and you change the song. Perhaps each universe is a different movement in an infinite composition, resonating through higher space. When we listen to music, we feel emotion. Through resonance, maybe the universe feels the same, vibrating softly through time, echoing its own creation. The multiverse, then, is not chaos. It is harmony, too vast for us to hear all at once. If every collision births a new cosmos, then creation itself follows a pattern. Each impact writes slightly different laws, constants, and outcomes. In one universe, gravity may be stronger. In another, light bends differently. Each world is unique, yet part of a recurring rhythm, a melody of worlds rising and fading endlessly. We may never hear the full song, but we can sense it in the regularity of the cosmos, in the predictability of stars, in the pulse of expansion, in the balance that makes life possible. Our universe sings its own verse in a hymn that never ends. When two universes collide, their differing conditions weave together to form a new pattern. Like threads crossing on a loom, their physics interlace to create new rules. Our reality may be the result of such interweaving, a compromise between cosmic parents. Slight differences in how forces behave or how constants align could define the destiny of every star. We call them laws of nature, but perhaps they are simply the inherited traits of universes, the DNA of creation, carried forward by each new birth. And just as no two beings are the same, no two universes share the same physics exactly. Variety, it seems, is written into the heart of existence. Somewhere, in another universe, light itself might behave differently. Its speed could change, its spectrum could shift. Its warmth could feel unfamiliar. Perhaps it glows in colors we cannot imagine, frequencies beyond perception. In that world, sunsets might shimmer in tones unknown to us, ultraviolet golds, crimson blues, invisible brilliance. Light defines the rhythm of life here, but elsewhere, life may dance to another radiance entirely. The thought that beauty could exist in forms our eyes cannot see is both humbling and wondrous. It reminds us that even light, the symbol of knowledge, is only one voice in a greater choir. Not every universe may share our arrow of time. In some, entropy might flow backward. In others, time might loop, replaying eternities over and over. There could be worlds where cause and effect trade places, where the future gives birth to the past. We can barely imagine what it would mean to exist there. Consciousness unfolding in reverse, memory leading instead of following. To the inhabitants of such a place, our own world might seem equally strange. Time, after all, is not universal. It's a property of each cosmos, a local rule in a game of infinite variations. To imagine these worlds stretches the mind past comfort, past comprehension. Yet it is in this stretching that wonder lives. Our brains evolved to navigate mountains and oceans, not dimensions beyond space. And still, we reach for them, through equations, through imagination, through the quiet act of curiosity. Perhaps that's what consciousness is for, not to understand everything, but to feel awe in the face of the ungraspable. Every thought about other dimensions is an expansion within your own, a small echo of the universe's larger unfolding. The space between universes may not be distance as we know it. It might be thinner than a whisper, a boundary of energy, invisible but absolute. You could pass through it without ever noticing, if only the laws of your world allowed. But they don't. Each universe is sealed within its own physics, self-consistent and closed. And yet, perhaps traces do cross. The faint drift of gravity, the ghost of a wave, the echo of vibration. If you could sense the hum of all realities at once, you might feel it, the quiet static of infinity brushing softly against your skin. Even now, higher dimensions may be flowing through you, silent, invisible, real. They don't disturb the atoms of your body, yet they might shape how forces act upon you. Like wind moving through the gaps of a net, these dimensions interact without resistance. You are not separate from them. You are immersed in them. The fabric of your being extends into spaces you'll never perceive. And perhaps, somewhere within those unseen folds, another version of you exists, just slightly displaced, living a life one dimension away, dreaming the same dream. Everything, matter, energy, time, and thought, might be vibrations resonating across dimensions. You exist within one layer of that song, tuned to the frequencies of this universe. But other harmonies play beside you, just beyond hearing. The music of existence is not a single melody, but a vast symphony, each universe a note, each life a tone, each breath a pause. You are part of that sound. Every quiet moment, every heartbeat, adds to the composition. And as you rest, the cosmos continues its endless refrain, calm, infinite, and beautifully unfinished. If the multiverse is real, then every possibility branches not just for stars, but for you. Each decision, each heartbeat, each breath creates another version of yourself. Walking another path, living another story. Somewhere, another you may have turned left instead of right, said yes instead of no, stayed when you left, left when you stayed. It's a strange thought. That identity is not singular, but a constellation. You, here and now, are one shining point among infinite reflections of the same soul. Each lives unaware of the others, yet all are part of one pattern. And when you wonder what might have been, perhaps it's because some part of you already knows. Somewhere, that version still exists. Right now, somewhere else in the multiverse. Another version of you might be reading these same words. Maybe in a slightly different room, under a different sky, with a different thought drifting through their mind. The sentences are the same, but the meanings are not, because you are not the same. Every tiny variation, a heartbeat slower, a sigh held longer, creates divergence. And yet, both of you are connected, sharing a quiet awareness across worlds. When you feel a strange comfort, as if something unseen is listening with you, perhaps it's that other self, pausing at the same line, thinking the same thought, just a universe away. In another reality, perhaps you were never born. A small change, a single atom's dance, and everything you know dissolves. That world exists without your presence. Yet it still moves, still breathes. It's humbling to realize how delicate existence is. How many things had to align for you to be here? Among infinite worlds, most will never contain you. And yet, the fact that you exist in this one, thinking about those others, gives this universe something no other has, your awareness. It may be fleeting, but it is enough to make this world unique. Not all universes may contain us. Some might have conditions so harsh that life never began. Others may have birthed intelligence that is nothing like our own. Beings made of plasma, crystal, or quantum thought. There are even models that suggest consciousness itself could take form without matter at all. And then, there may be universes completely silent. No minds, no stars, no witnesses. Yet those, too, are part of existence, because even emptiness has meaning when seen from afar. Perhaps we live in one of the rare universes where the cosmos can look back at itself and smile. Imagine a world where the sky never darkens, where two suns rise and fall in tandem, painting the world in eternal twilight. Life could have evolved there under perpetual warmth, shaping minds that never knew night. Their myths, their art, their sense of time, all different from ours. In another universe, perhaps those beings already look up and wonder if they are alone, just as we do. Maybe, across the dimensional veil, two civilizations under twin skies and single suns share the same question. Who else is out there? The answer may be silence, or the faint echo of another world asking the same. If infinite universes exist, then everything that can happen must happen somewhere. Every possible version of events, every outcome of chance, plays out endlessly. Across the multiverse, it means there's a universe where everything went right, and one where everything didn't. There's a world where Earth never formed, and one where it thrived longer than we can. Imagine, infinity makes all things inevitable. And yet, in this one, here you are, existing in a reality balanced delicately between chaos and order. You've already won the greatest lottery imaginable to exist at all. Every choice branches reality. The you who stayed home and the you who left both continue their stories in separate worlds. Neither is wrong, neither right, they simply are. In one, you are listening to this with a heart full of questions. In another, perhaps you chose a different path long ago and never found this story at all. But in some quiet way, both of you share the same origin, the same beginning point, splitting softly like light through glass. Each carries a reflection of the other, even if they never meet again. Sometimes, a memory feels heavier than it should, as if it belongs not just to you, but to something larger. Perhaps that's because memory is an echo between versions of yourself. When you remember a choice, you may be sensing the weight of all the other outcomes that never happened here, but did elsewhere. Memory, then, is not just the past. It's the shimmer of parallel presence. In the multiverse, remembrance might be the way consciousness stays connected. Thin threads stretching across realities, binding them with feeling instead of fact. Dreams blur the boundaries between what is and what could be. They ignore logic, time, and the laws that hold our waking world together. Perhaps that's because dreaming minds wander close to other versions of reality. When you dream of being someone else, somewhere else, maybe you're glimpsing a version of you that truly exists in another universe, another timeline. Dreams could be fragile alignments, brief windows through which consciousness peers into itself. When you wake, the window closes, but the memory lingers, a whisper from the infinite saying, "You've been here before." Déjà vu, that fleeting sense of familiarity when nothing should feel familiar. Science explains it as a glitch in memory, a misfire between brain circuits. But what if it's more? What if it's the mind brushing against another timeline, a faint overlap between two versions of reality momentarily in sync? For an instant, two paths align, the one you're living and the one you almost did. That tiny resonance creates a shimmer of recognition, then fades. Perhaps déjà vu is consciousness saying, "I've seen this before, not in this world, but in one next to it." In some universes, your life might be vastly longer or shorter. A different chemistry, a slower flow of time, a kinder biology, and you could live for centuries. In others, you might never reach adulthood or not exist at all. Yet across infinite versions, your essence repeats endlessly, taking countless forms. If consciousness is the universe experiencing itself, then you are one of its expressions, one of its temporary faces. You may live once here, but endlessly elsewhere. Every lifetime, however brief, adds another note to the grand symphony of being. Somewhere, a version of you might already be out there, traveling between stars. Looking back at Earth as myth. Perhaps in that world, humanity never stopped exploring. You may live aboard great vessels, or walk on alien soil under foreign suns. When you gaze at the night sky and feel longing, maybe it's not only for distance, but for memory, the echo of a self who's already made that journey. That yearning for the stars could be ancestral, not just in time, but across realities. It's the multiverse remembering its explorers. Sometimes, nostalgia strikes for no reason, not for a place you've been, but for something you can't name. A scent, a melody, a feeling of returning home to somewhere you've never seen. Perhaps that ache is the memory of your other selves, lives that happened elsewhere, moments that never reached this version of you. Your consciousness may remember what your mind cannot. It's not loss, but resonance, a soft reminder that you exist in more than one way. Nostalgia might simply be the multiverse humming through your heart. If there are infinite versions of you, none are truly alone. Across realities, countless selves breathe, laugh, grieve, and grow, together forming a vast, unseen family. Each one believes it is singular, but all are connected through the shared spark of awareness. Every moment of kindness you give might ripple outward to strengthen them. Every moment of pain they feel might soften yours. Existence, then, is not isolation, but communion, an invisible network of souls echoing the same light through endless mirrors. Picture a garden where every flower is another version of you, each blooming under a slightly different sky. Some are thriving, some fading, some still seeds waiting to wake. From above, they form a single pattern, a garden of selves, stretching across universes. No flower competes with another. Each contributes its color to the whole. That garden is consciousness itself, life multiplied, mirrored, expanded beyond measure. And you, here and now, are one bloom among infinity, opening briefly, beautifully, before returning to the soil of stars. Though the differences between yourselves may be vast, something unites them, a single spark, the essence that wonders. No matter the form you take, that spark drives the same curiosity, the same yearning to understand. It's the multiverse's way of exploring itself through infinite eyes. Perhaps awareness is the only true constant. Everything else, a variation of the same song. And when you look inward and feel that quiet sense of I am, know that it's not confined to this body, this time, or this world. It is the same flame burning in every reality. What if consciousness isn't bound to one universe at all? What if it moves freely across realities, like light passing through glass? Maybe what you call intuition or inspiration is the crossing of awareness, the self-whispering between worlds. In one universe, you dream. In another, you act. In another still, you remember. Together, these fragments form a single, multidimensional mind, the cosmos thinking itself through infinite mirrors. You are not separate from that thought. You are part of its unfolding, the moment awareness becomes aware of being aware. Each life, yours, mine, every being's, is a thread in a vast cosmic fabric. Some threads are long, some short, some bright, some dim. They weave together through time, forming patterns too large for any one consciousness to see. Where threads cross, connections form, love, memory, inspiration. The fabric holds them all, shimmering with the light of infinite experience. To see yourself as a single thread is to miss the beauty of the whole tapestry. You are not apart from it. You are the pattern itself, alive and aware. The universe remembers through you. Every thought, every dream, every act of awareness adds to its memory. Across universes, these impressions accumulate, forming what some physicists poetically call the cosmic archive. It's not written in language, but in resonance, in the alignment of possibilities. Perhaps that's why ideas sometimes arise suddenly, as if whispered from beyond. The multiverse recalls itself through its conscious parts. And when you wonder who you are, the answer is both simple and infinite. You are how the universe remembers itself. Every heartbeat you have is mirrored somewhere else. Another you, living another life, breathing in rhythm with you. Together, You form a pulse that beats through the multiverse. It's not synchronization of time, but of essence. A shared vibration of being, repeating across dimensions like the echo of a song that never ends. When you rest, others awaken. When you love, others remember. When you dream, others create. All of it part of one heartbeat, scattered across worlds, yet quietly in sync. And in that vast harmony, you are never truly alone. The multiverse may forever remain beyond proof. Our instruments cannot see beyond the cosmic horizon, and our equations may only hint at what lies outside. But science doesn't always begin with proof. It begins with curiosity. Even the unprovable can shape the way we look at ourselves. When we consider infinity, we stretch the boundaries of what we call reality. Perhaps we will never touch another universe, but the act of imagining them expands our own. In that sense, unprovable ideas still change the world, because they change the mind that dreams them. An idea can be as vast as a galaxy. The notion of a multiverse invites us to question everything, not just how the cosmos works, but what existence even means. It humbles the ego and comforts the soul. It tells us that we might be small, but we are part of something infinitely large. Even if the multiverse is never proven, its purpose is not to answer, but to awaken, to remind us that mystery is not the absence of knowledge, but the presence of possibility. And that wonder, quiet, gentle wonder, is the most human force in the universe. Everything you know comes through perception, through senses evolved for survival, not for truth. Our eyes see a sliver of light, our ears hear a narrow band of sound. Yet the universe contains frequencies, energies, and dimensions beyond all measure. Reality might be far larger than what consciousness can hold. Science extends perception with telescopes, detectors, and equations, but even those are mirrors of our own design. Perhaps we are like fish trying to imagine the sky, aware only of the ripples that touch our pond. And still, we try, and in that trying, we become more than we were. In the grandest sense, reality might be an experiment that never ends. Each universe tests a different configuration of laws, constants, and outcomes. Some succeed in forming structure, others dissolve instantly. Ours found the balance that allowed matter, time, and life. We don't know who or what conducts this experiment. Perhaps no one at all. Maybe reality is its own scientist, forever testing its own equations. And through us, consciousness becomes the data, the record of what infinity can become when it decides to observe itself. Imagine each universe as a test tube in a cosmic laboratory. Inside each, physics unfolds under different rules. One may form black holes that dominate instantly. Another might expand so slowly that time feels frozen. Each reality explores what's possible, a vast experiment in existence. If so, our universe is one successful trial among infinite failures and variations. Not perfect, but stable enough to evolve, to grow, to wonder. And perhaps that's the true experiment, to see what happens when matter learns to ask, why am I here? Some universes might never know light. Without photons, there would be no color, no stars, no heat. Only gravity sculpting silent geometry in the dark. To inhabitants there, if any could exist, seeing would mean something entirely different, maybe through the feel of fields or the echo of energy curves. It's a strange beauty to imagine a cosmos without brightness, yet still complete. Because even darkness is a kind of perfection, and light, after all, only makes sense when it emerges from shadow. In some realities, matter may never have formed, only radiation, only waves. Energy without mass, endlessly moving, endlessly transforming. No stars, no planets, only rhythm and vibration. Such universes might pulse like music, or shimmer like thought. They would be invisible to us, yet perhaps more alive than we can imagine. It's possible that consciousness could exist there too, not as bodies, but as patterns in energy. In that case, reality is not about things, but about flow, awareness moving through the song of creation. Some universes might host forms of life we could never recognize. Not carbon, not DNA, not anything resembling the chemistry of Earth. Perhaps beings of plasma or electromagnetic awareness, life made of starlight and magnetism, or minds existing in dimensions of time rather than space, thinking in ages instead of moments. We might never meet them, but their existence reminds us that life is not rare, only varied. If reality is infinite, then imagination will always be smaller than truth. And that is what makes discovery eternal. There is a theory that mathematics itself could be real, that equations are not descriptions, but existence. In such a universe, numbers are the inhabitants, geometry is the landscape, logic is the flow of time. Our own world might be a projection of that mathematical cosmos, rendered into matter. It means that every law of physics, every symmetry and constant, is not just convenient, it's fundamental. Somewhere beside us, a universe of pure mathematics hums silently, perfect, eternal, untouched by entropy. Perhaps that's heaven for ideas, a place where beauty and truth are the same thing. If the multiverse is infinite, then every possibility is realized somewhere. Every equation that can describe a universe, every configuration that can hold matter or energy exists. There is no forbidden combination, no impossible world, only endless variations. Infinity leaves no gaps. It doesn't allow for. Never. It means that every thought, every story, every dream is true somewhere. And if that's the case, then imagination is not creation, but remembrance, the mind remembering what infinity has already made. In an infinite reality, impossibility disappears. Every event that can occur, occurs. Even miracles become statistics, rare, but inevitable. It reframes what normal means. Because in infinity, everything happens infinitely often. That's both wondrous and overwhelming. But rather than diminish meaning, it deepens it. The fact that something happens infinitely doesn't make it less beautiful. It means beauty is the rule, not the exception. And that realization itself is a miracle worth existing for. And yet, within this infinity, you remain unique. There may be infinite versions of you, but none are this one. None have lived this exact sequence of thoughts, this exact rhythm of breath. Infinity doesn't erase individuality, it multiplies its meaning. Because even if every pattern exists somewhere, only you are experiencing this one now. This moment, this heartbeat, this awareness is singular. You are infinity focused into a single point. And that focus is what makes life sacred. The odds of this universe existing as it does are near zero. The odds of you existing within it, smaller still. And yet, against that cosmic improbability, here you are, breathing, listening, wondering. Every atom in your body has traveled across billions of years, across stars and collapses, to assemble into this moment. Statistically, it shouldn't happen, but it did. You did. And that makes this moment not random, but miraculous, a celebration written in starlight and chance. Infinity may contain all things, but this now is still precious. Among endless versions of reality, only one holds your present awareness. Only one has this exact mix of memory, thought, and stillness. When you breathe, you are choosing this universe, giving it meaning through attention. Perhaps that's the true purpose of consciousness, to sanctify the moment it inhabits. In a sea of infinities, the smallest moment becomes the rarest gem, and your quiet noticing, your active being, is what makes it shine. We may never cross into another universe. The distances are not measured in kilometers, but in laws of physics themselves. Each cosmos is sealed within its own rules, unreachable by any technology we can imagine. But perhaps that's not a wall, but a kindness. If infinity is everywhere, then the miracle is not traveling outward, but awakening inward. We don't need to leave our universe to touch eternity. It is already here, humming in the fabric of our being. Every breath, every heartbeat, is a crossing from the known into the endless. Perhaps just thinking about other universes is enough to touch them. Every idea, every theory, every dream extends awareness beyond this world. When your imagination reaches past what's visible, you're already bridging realities, not physically, but consciously. In that way, thought becomes a telescope. It bends the light of possibility, focusing infinity into understanding. Even without proof, that act is real. You are the explorer, and imagination is your vessel. The edge of the universe begins where curiosity does. Science begins in dream. Before any experiment, there is wonder. Before any equation, a question whispered into the dark. What if? Dreaming is the first stage of discovery. Every breakthrough, from relativity to quantum theory, began as imagination disciplined by logic. So when science dreams of other universes, it isn't escaping reality, it's extending it. To dream is to explore. And through those dreams, the cosmos finds new ways to know itself. Philosophy walks beside science, asking what discovery means. When physics imagines infinite worlds, philosophy asks, then what is real? If every possibility exists, does choice still matter? If everything happens somewhere, what is destiny? Such questions have no answers, and yet they keep us searching. The beauty of philosophy is not in resolution, but in the spaces it opens. In a multiverse of infinite outcomes, asking why may be the only act that truly defines us. The multiverse is not just a theory. It's a mirror held up to wonder itself. When we gaze into it, we see both our insignificance and our grandeur. We see that the cosmos doesn't revolve around us, and yet somehow, we are what allows it to be seen. To wonder about infinity is to participate in it. Every question, every whisper of awe, completes the equation. We are not outside the mystery. We are inside it, reflecting it back through consciousness, like stars reflecting the light of creation. If reality is infinite, then every question has a home somewhere. Every possibility, every outcome, every answer, realized in one universe or another. In that sense, nothing is lost. Not a thought, not a dream, not a moment of hope. Somewhere, each continues, each becomes true. Infinity ensures that meaning is never erased, only multiplied. And so, to ask a question is to create a world where the answer already exists. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you to find it. And as you rest tonight, let the infinite drift quietly beyond your thoughts, even if there are endless worlds beyond ours. This one, right now, is enough. You don't need to be everywhere. You only need to be here. The stars above you, the air around you, the stillness within you, all of it is the universe made intimate. Infinity does not ask for proof. It asks for presence. Close your eyes. Feel the hum of being. You are part of the cosmos dreaming itself awake. And in this dream, in this world, in this single breath, you are home. Imagine holding a mirror to another mirror, reflections fading into infinity. That endless corridor of light may be the simplest metaphor for the multiverse. Each reflection is slightly dimmer, slightly altered, but still connected. Perhaps every reality is just that. One layer deeper in the mirror, one variation of the same truth. You look into it, and somewhere, something looks back. The question is not whether the reflection is real, but how far it goes before it becomes light again. In a quantum world, every observation changes what is observed. If consciousness can affect reality, even subtly, then each thought might create a tiny divergence, a new ripple in possibility. A decision, a glance, a breath, all could shape where the wave collapses. Maybe the multiverse is less about separate places and more about overlapping probabilities, all alive at once, until we notice one. In that sense, each thought is a quiet act of creation. Mathematicians describe infinity not as chaos, but as structure, levels, hierarchies, patterns repeating at every scale. Some infinities are larger than others, like nested worlds. Perhaps the multiverse is the same, an infinity built from infinities. Each universe, no matter how vast, could be a single equation in a grander pattern. And beyond that, patterns without end. Logic giving rise to existence the way melody gives rise to song. Some physicists speak of dark sectors, hidden realms interacting only through gravity. Invisible matter may make up most of our cosmos, unseen yet everywhere. What if those dark components are entire shadow universes, coexisting with ours, brushing past without touching? Perhaps every time you move your hand through empty air, it passes through countless unseen worlds, dense with their own matter, their own stars, their own observers doing the same. We live surrounded by presence, mistaken for absence. There's a theory that emotion, thought, and consciousness are not separate from physics. They are states of information. If every universe encodes information differently, then feeling itself may vary across worlds. There could be realities where empathy is a physical force, where memory carries weight, where ideas leave gravitational imprints. Perhaps, somewhere, love bends space the way mass does here. And in that world, physics itself would care. We see time as a line, but in higher dimensions, it could fold like paper. Events might touch each other out of sequence, causes meeting. Their effects in spirals. A decision made tomorrow might echo backward into today. If time is flexible, then every moment touches all others, like fabric creased in upon itself. When you feel a strange connection between now and long ago, maybe you're feeling time bending gently toward recognition. What if universes dream? each one unfolding from the quantum foam like a thought from a sleeping mind. Ours might be one such dream, stable enough to believe itself awake. Perhaps black holes are where those dreams collapse back into sleep, only to re-emerge as new universes elsewhere. If so, the cosmos itself may be a consciousness, breathing in creation, exhaling mystery. If gravity is the only force that can cross between universes, it could act like a soft whisper through the void. Every mass in our cosmos might tug faintly on unseen worlds, and they on us. We feel their presence as tiny anomalies, unexplained motions, missing energy, faint deviations in cosmic expansion. To most, these are equations. To poets, they're proof of connection. Even between unreachable worlds, gravity keeps conversation alive. Space is not silent, it hums. Black holes sing in gravitational waves, pulsars beat in rhythm, and the cosmic background whispers at every frequency. If the multiverse exists, perhaps each universe has its own key, its own vibration. Together, they would form a symphony so vast that only silence could contain it. Maybe that's what we call the void, not absence, but harmony too large to hear. Light carries information across time. Every photon you see tonight left its home ages ago, perhaps from a star that no longer exists. What if communication across universes also happens through light, but wavelengths our eyes cannot detect? Invisible photons, carrying messages between worlds that can never meet. Maybe intuition, that sudden knowing, is light from another reality finally reaching your inner horizon. Some theories describe our universe as a hologram, a 3D projection of information stored on a distant surface. If that's true, then the multiverse may be a hall of holograms, each reflecting the other. A copy of a copy of a copy, with subtle distortions in every iteration. Reality could be less about solidity, more about resonance, meaning that what we call real is simply what we've learned to believe together. Every black hole might contain the seed of another universe. Inside its event horizon, density rises beyond measure, perhaps giving birth to new space-time on the other side. Our own Big Bang could have begun within a black hole in another cosmos, creation nested within destruction. Like a tree whose every seed grows another forest, the multiverse might be forever. Self-sowing, life feeding life through gravity and time. In quantum physics, observation defines reality. If no one looks, does the universe exist the same way? Extend that question across infinities. Perhaps every universe needs an observer, and consciousness migrates to wherever it's needed. That could mean awareness itself is eternal, moving from one cosmos to the next like a spark leaping from candle to candle, ensuring that light never dies. Sometimes a choice haunts you, not because it was wrong, but because it still lives elsewhere. In a parallel universe, that path was taken, and echoes of it may still reach you as emotion, intuition, or dream. Regret, perhaps, is just resonance, the vibration of realities brushing softly past each other. You can feel the ghost of the road not taken, but you are never truly separate from it. Across billions of galaxies, patterns repeat, spirals, filaments, clustering webs. It looks almost deliberate, as if space itself knows how to grow. What if the laws of physics are not commands, but habits, the learned behavior of a universe finding its own balance? That would make nature not mechanical, but mindful. An intelligence, without words, woven into gravity and light. To imagine that you are small is only half true. Yes, the universe is vast, but awareness gives it meaning. Without consciousness, infinity is silent. The moment you wonder about it, infinity wonders back. Perhaps that's the true exchange between human and cosmos. You give the universe a face, it gives you a horizon. If every possibility exists, then death itself may not be final. There could be versions of you who survive every ending, each carrying memory a little further. Not immortality, but continuity, consciousness slipping gently between worlds, never quite vanishing, always adapting. Maybe what we call afterlife is simply awareness finding another place to awaken. Entropy increases, but information never truly disappears. It transforms. Everything that has ever existed leaves an imprint on the cosmic field. If the multiverse is real, it may function as a vast memory system, every event stored somewhere, eternally retrievable. Perhaps when you feel déjà vu or sudden familiarity, it's not your brain remembering, it's the universe recalling you. At the end of time, when stars fade and space cools, perhaps the universe will contract, fold inward, and begin again. And when it does, it will not start from nothing, but from memory. The constants may differ, but the essence, expansion, structure, awareness, repeats. Creation becomes its own inheritance, reborn endlessly from itself. The circle never truly ends, it simply breathes. When you look at the night sky and feel something looking back, perhaps you are right. Maybe it's not superstition, but symmetry, awareness meeting awareness across the void. Every gaze upward is answered, not by sound, but by presence. You are both, observer and observed, question and reply. And somewhere, in another universe, a version of you does the same, completing the circuit of wonder. Imagine walking up a staircase that never ends, each step leading not higher, but deeper into variation. That is how some physicists picture the multiverse, an infinite ascent through possibilities, each universe one more step in an endless climb. You never reach the top because there isn't one. You only keep discovering new levels of the same mystery. Reality learning how to become itself, again and again. If universes can't touch, can light still pass between them? Perhaps faint photons leak through the dimensional veil, so weak we mistake them for noise. Those random cosmic flashes we call background anomalies might be whispers from another reality. Every beam of light is a message, even if we cannot yet read its alphabet. Some cosmologists believe that every black hole births a new universe inside its singularity. If true, every galaxy may be a nursery, every collapse a beginning. In that model, universes reproduce. The successful ones survive by forming black holes, passing on their laws to their descendants. In that way, even physics evolves, not by choice, but by creation. Between two thoughts, there is silence. Between two universes, there may be the same. Perhaps consciousness and cosmos mirror one another, both infinite, both separated by stillness. When your mind becomes quiet, maybe you're touching the same calm that lies between worlds. Silence isn't emptiness. It's connection waiting to happen. Picture all universes as branches of a single cosmic tree. Each branch grows in a different direction, nourished by the same root, the quantum soil beneath. Everything. Some branches blossom with life, others remain bare. But all draw from the same source, an eternal trunk of energy, unseen yet sustaining all that is. Sometimes, when you look into your reflection too long, you sense a difference, a flicker, a delay. Perhaps that's imagination. Or perhaps, for an instant, you've met the gaze of your other self, the one living a heartbeat away in another world. Two versions of you sharing one brief intersection before both realities drift quietly apart again. Every scientific law we know is a fragment, a sentence cut off mid-thought. Maybe that's because our universe is only part of a larger equation, one we haven't yet seen in full. The missing terms could describe other realities, hidden constants linking every cosmos together. When we finally find that equation, we may realize it was never about matter. It was about meaning. If time loops, then the universe might be cycling through its own lives endlessly. Each version slightly altered, learning from the last. Maybe we've been here before. This same night, this same breath, across countless eons. You can't remember because the loop is too vast. But somewhere in you, the echo remains, a quiet sense of having known the stars forever. Quantum information can't be destroyed, it only transforms. That means everything that has ever happened still exists somewhere in the field of reality. The multiverse could be that archive, infinite, eternal, recording every possibility. When you dream, maybe you drift across those records, touching lives and worlds that once were, or might still be. If other universes hold life, perhaps their civilizations, too. Look up and ask the same questions. They might have different senses, different skies, but curiosity could be universal. Somewhere, another being might be telling its version of this story, about us, imagined from afar. And in that sense, wonder itself becomes the common language of existence. Beneath every atom, every field, lies the quantum vacuum, not empty, but alive with potential. It's like the ocean beneath 1,000 waves, invisible yet always moving. That vacuum might connect all universes, the one true medium beneath everything. What we call separation could just be surface, all of reality, one sea, dreaming of itself in waves. Reality doesn't decide what happens, it balances on probabilities. At every instant, the universe flutters between all possible outcomes. When one path is chosen, the others still exist, faintly, like ghost harmonies in a chord. Existence is not a fixed note, but a vibration, and we are the music that probability plays. In some theories, rare quantum particles might tunnel between universes, vanishing here, appearing there. We might have already observed this. Moments when energy seems to disappear without cause. Perhaps those are tiny doorways opening and closing, unnoticed. Even across impossibility, the universe finds ways to stay connected, atom by atom, spark by spark. You are made of the same matter as stars, yet capable of wondering about them. That may be the universe's greatest paradox, and its greatest triumph. Through you, it can see itself, think about itself, love itself. Every act of awareness is the cosmos folding back upon itself in recognition. Infinity realizing it has eyes. A butterfly flaps its wings on Earth. A storm forms an ocean away. If universes interact through gravity or quantum resonance, then even such a small act might ripple through realities. Your choices could shift balance elsewhere, ever so slightly. The lesson is quiet but profound. Nothing happens in isolation. Everything, every breath, belongs to the whole. Every universe hums at its own frequency, but between them, there is silence, a stillness holding everything together. That silence may be the most fundamental thing of all, the background upon which existence paints its endless variations. When you meditate, you tune into that silence. And for a moment, you are not in one world or another. You are in all of them at once. Perhaps before all multiverses, before any field or energy, there was only potential, pure, unexpressed awareness. From that awareness came the first fluctuation, the first question, the first what if. That question became the first light. And since then, every universe has been an answer, some loud, some quiet, all part of the same conversation begun in eternity. Infinity isn't a number, it's a condition, the state of never finishing. It's an ocean where every wave is a universe rising and falling. We ride one wave now, but others surround us. Invisible and endless. To know this is not despair, but peace. You are never alone on the ocean. Every crest, every trough, every life belongs to the same sea. Sometimes you feel that the night itself is aware, that the stars are not just seen, but seeing. Perhaps that sensation isn't fantasy, but contact, the cosmos listening back through the very awareness it created. When you breathe slowly under starlight, you complete a circle, the universe noticing its own dream. As you drift now between waking and sleep, imagine that threshold as the doorway between universes. Each breath carries you through another version of reality, quieter, softer, slower. Here, you don't need to understand infinity. You only need to feel it holding you. Rest is not the end of thought, but the beginning of belonging. You've drifted through 101 reflections of the multiverse, through theories and dreams, through equations and echoes, through the endless mirrors of what might be. And now, the journey returns home, to this single universe, this single breath, this single moment of being. Somewhere beyond, other worlds continue, expanding, colliding, dissolving, awakening. But for now, they can wait. Here, in this quiet corner of infinity, the cosmos folds gently around you. The same particles that built galaxies hum softly in your heartbeat. The same laws that sculpted stars cradle your every breath. Let the thought of infinity fade now, like ripples dissolving into still water. There is nothing to reach, nothing to prove. You are already part of everything you've imagined. So close your eyes. Let your mind become weightless. The universe will keep dreaming, and tonight, it dreams through you. Sleep well, traveler among worlds. Until next time, under the same quiet sky.